Hello my fellow gamer, it's Griffin here and welcome back to another video of POE 2. Today I'm happy to share with you my Amazon Lightning Strike build with full conversion from lightning to cold. Our character is level 91, crushes T16 maps, erases monsters screen wide with one click, shreds bosses, and the build can be assembled on the budget. Let's talk about it. Let's dive in. This is by far the most powerful build I played in Dawn of the Hunt. It is literally in a league of its own. The way it deletes group of monsters even off screen with one button is spectacular regardless of the map layout. It is also very effective against bosses at melee range, and for a build to be this strong at both mapping and bossing is astonishing. Lightning Spear consumes a frenzy charge if possible, and the main spear will split on impact into multiple copies and each one will burst. With good investment into crit and accuracy through the Ascendency nodes and the passive skill tree, it will lead to remarkable results. If you are struggling with your current build, you may consider trying this one out. It is outstanding and brings back the fun in a big way, truly remarkable. Gear and gems. The star of the show is the Tangle Tongue Spear that has an insane amount of base crit chance and the entire build revolves around it. A word of caution. The price skyrockets as soon as we'll search for high-end crit chance values, but a spear like this shouldn't be very expensive. We are using Hand of Wisdom and Action Gloves that gives flat lightning damage but 20 intelligence and 1% attack speed but 20 dex. We are also using Call of the Brotherhood Ring that converts all lightning damage into cold damage, and this is how we get all these massive juicy icy explosions. We pair it with Herald of Ash that applies Ignite based on the overkill damage, and we add significant amount of fire damage to the mix as well. In conjunction with Herald of Ash, we use Herald of Ice that causes icy explosions if we shatter an enemy with a non-herald attack hit. Besides that, we are adding Infernal Cry that empowers our character's next melee attack by gaining 35% of damage as fire damage per 5 power of enemies in range up to 150% if the quality of the gem is at 20%. The support gems are Raging Cry to gain rage quickly, Tireless, Premeditation, and Enrage Warcry. The Deepest Tower item is a great addition to the build as will make enemies in our character's presence count as being on low life. One of our main melee skills is Spear Stab that will automatically get while we're using a spear and levels up by itself, getting to 5 links when our character reaches level 90. We'll boost its damage significantly by using the following support gems: Concentrated Effect, Closed Combat, Martial Tempo, Rage, and Execute for 50% more damage against enemies that are on low life. Our main skill is Lightning Spear and it is superb. For support gems we are using Cold Infusion, Primal Armament, Vault, more about this support very soon, Ambrosia, and Mana Bounty. Vault gives our character 3 voltaic charges per meter traveled up to a maximum of 30 charges as displayed in top left corner. Also, it makes Lightning Spear chain once per 10 voltaic charges consumed, although Lightning Spear cannot chain without this support. We also get 5% of damage as extra lightning damage per 10 voltaic charges consumed. This will be converted to cold damage due to our Call of the Brotherhood Ring mentioned earlier for a massive cold damage boost. We need to keep our characters moving though to get the 30 stacks of voltaic charges and then use Lightning Spear for maximum damage. If we keep spamming the skill and we don't have the maximum voltaic charges available, feels quite terrible and inefficient. Another amazing support is Ambrosia, and this gem is quite nutty. Consumes 20% of maximum mana flask charges on use and provides 3% of damage as extra lightning damage per mana flask charged consumed. So, more charges on the mana flask, more lightning damage that again will be converted to cold damage by our Call of the Brotherhood Ring. It is important to mention that the support gem description states supported skill consume 20% of maximum mana flask charges on use. Therefore, if we're not going to use the 5th support mana bounty to regain these charges as fast as possible, we'll run out of charges after 5 uses of the main skill, and after that Ambrosia support will be useless until we'll slowly regain enough mana charges. Ambrosia and mana bounty must be used together for maximum efficiency. We can replace them with inevitable critical and ice bite, but so far this setup worked really well. Feel free to experiment and find a setup that best suits your playstyle. We are using Elemental Infusion as the 4th major Ascendency node that, when our character consumes a frenzy charge, will infuse its weapon with lightning and causes a lightning explosion at the end of the projectile's flight. Only works with non-melee projectiles attacks. By selecting Elemental Infusion, we get infused weapon skill, and the support gems are Long Shot, Reach, Ice Bite, Cold Penetration, and Frost Nexus. Wind Serpent's Fury is a very powerful and very useful skill that requires frenzy charges to use. We'll talk about how we generate frenzy charges very soon, but let's go over the support gems first. Rage Forge, that consumes 10 rage if possible to deal 35% more damage. We gain rage fast by using Infernal Cry with Raging Cry, Spear Stab with Rage. We're using Boar Talisman on the gloves and a Jewel with a rage gain on hit. The other support gems are Perpetual Charge, Elemental Focus, and Overextend. This skill can be very effective against bosses, but even on a T16 juiced map, by the time we gain enough frenzy charges, the boss gets destroyed by the Spear Stab skill in several hits. We'll have it equipped just in case for more resilient or pinnacle bosses. We need a scepter with a lot of spirit because we're using, wait for it, a lot of spirit gems. Make sure you get an Omen Scepter as it provides the Malice skill. Malice is an aura that inflicts critical weakness on enemies in our character's presence. Critical weakness causes hits against affected targets to have plus 0.5% critical hit chance and can stack up to 20 times, and this synergizes very well with our build, but only affects enemies within our character's presence. That was reduced by wearing the Deepest Tower helmet, therefore we need to use a jewel or jewels to increase presence area of effect and to regain it as much as possible. I would recommend a scepter that provides at least 170 spirit to be able to use the following spirit gems: Herald of Ash with Magnified Effect and Deadly Herald, Herald of Ice with Ambush, Biting Frost, as Herald of Ice inherently cannot cause freeze buildup, therefore this support will give it 50% more damage with no downsides. We are also using Immolate for 30% of damage as extra fire damage against ignited enemies that will be ignited due to Herald of Ash mentioned earlier. And the last support is Inevitable Critical. Cast on crit with Sniper's Mark, Overabundance, Impetus, and Energy Retention. Once Sniper's Mark is applied, the next crit that target receives consumes the mark to deal extra damage and grants a frenzy charge. Overabundance allows us to do that in quick succession, being very useful against bosses that we cannot freeze quick enough for Combat Frenzy to generate a frenzy charge. Speaking of Combat Frenzy, we'll use it with Profusion support. Combat Frenzy will generate a frenzy charge every time we freeze, electrocute, or pin an enemy, but no more than once every 4.3 seconds for a level 18 gem with 20% quality. The gear overall looks like this. We want to make sure our character is elemental resistance capped, has good chaos resistance, and very good evasion. Passive skill tree. For a level 91 character, the skill tree looks like this. In the endgame, we focus on crit nodes: Dispatch Foes, Moment of Truth, Deadly Force, for the Jugular, True Strike, Throat Seeker, Heart Stopping, Heart Breaking, Javelin, and we've instilled First Approach for 50% increased critical hit chance against enemies on full life and 80% increased damage with hits against enemies that are on full life. We've taken the accuracy and crit chance nodes here including the Falcon Dive for 1% increased attack speed per 250 accuracy rating. We increased the number of maximum frenzy charges to 7 by using Savagery, Frenetic and Fervor. To maximize evasion, we are using Cat-like Agility, Bestial Skin and Enhanced Reflexes. We've taken Spectral Ward node for some extra energy shield based on the evasion on the body armor. Regarding leveling up process, we take Primal Instinct, Combat Alchemy, Blur and Cat-like Agility. Then we follow this line and we're aiming for the Spear nodes and then we'll respec later. Then we're taking Coming Calamity node that gives 50% increased cold damage if we have Herald of Ice equipped and 50% increased fire damage if we have Herald of Ash equipped. After that we take the evasion nodes and the frenzy charges nodes mentioned earlier. Once we finish the campaign, we'll start investing into crit nodes and we'll respec once we have enough points by removing this branch and selecting this branch on the right. Ascendency. We've chosen the Huntress class and selected Amazon Ascendency that has very good damage nodes. First major node is Predatory Instinct and then In for the Kill. The third is Critical Strike and the last Elemental Infusion, although these last two nodes are interchangeable. And this concludes our look at the Amazon Lightning Spear build with full conversion from lightning to cold. This build is extremely powerful at both melee and long range. The mapping experience is second to none and by far the most efficient this league. The build can be put together on a budget if we're not aiming for items with max damage or max crit rolls. It is immensely fun and satisfying to play. Feels like you're becoming the god of the elements, igniting, freezing and shattering everything in your path. If this is the playstyle you're looking for, then this build is most likely for you. I highly recommend it. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you have any questions, feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section below. If you enjoyed it, feel free to give it a like and don't forget to subscribe to get notifications about new content uploaded on this channel. Thank you so much for watching. All the best. Bye.